In my everyday life, I obviously don't go around telling people about Krishnamurti or some spiritual gibberish. I wouldn't go out preaching, I wouldn't go out telling people about my life. But when I am asked, I always formulate it in different words because I talk about my practical life and nothing else. So basically all I say is, however many years ago, I think I must have been about 31. I'm assuming it was the time of my breakup, the time of my divorce, so I'm assuming it must have been about that time. And I always say my life changed. My mind state changed, which changed my life. And the only thing that changed is that I got my kid joy back. So I didn't achieve something greater, higher, bigger, spiritual, divine, accomplish anything. All I did was strip back down to the pure, innocent self that I once was. Because I once was a young child actually in a threatening, scary environment. But I knew how to have fun. I knew I had a joyful life regardless. So despite my scary household, despite all the scary situations, threats to life, and I could detach and go out and play with my friends. So I'd forget the worries that I had at home. And I'd argue this was very, very important for my survival, or for my, I needed to get out of the house, I needed to detach, I needed to disassociate from the hate, the anger, the stress I felt at home from my parents. So as a child, this came to me naturally. I'd be joyous, I'd be jolly, I'd play with a stick, and then grown-ups would come up and tell me not to do this. Stop doing that, you're going to hurt yourself. And this is more or less my explanation to life. As kids, we know intrinsically, deep down, it's easy to be happy. You can laugh at anything. You're free from worries, you're free of cares, free of future plans, expectations, ideas of yourself. And then grown-ups start telling us what to do and what we're doing wrong and how we're not accomplishing what this other person's accomplishing. We get compared, we get measured, we have to fight each other. Sometimes we actually have to fight each other. But you know what I mean? We are put into this sick society. We're trying to, we put our children into this society that then tells them, you're not good enough. You're not good as you are. You're not normal. You're not stereotypical. And nobody is. Nobody is normal. Nobody is Mr. Stereotypical. Nobody fits the sick system. Nobody fits into what we're told we're supposed to fit into. So deep down, we already know how to be happy. And this is the main reason why I respond rather, how should I say, sharply, when people suggest that this freedom that Krishnamurti speaks of is not available to them, or it's not possible for them, or it's too hard to understand. And all I always argue is, as a kid, you knew how to live in the present moment. As a kid, you knew how to live ego-free. As a kid, you knew how to be joyous, jolly, loving, all the good things. And then grown-ups come up and smash us. Sorry, grown-ups. I'm not going to be one of them. Anyway, no, we're trying to help our kids. I'm not trying to tell all parents they're doing wrong. You're trying to make your child fit into the system. What we don't know is that our system is sick. So we're adapting to a sick society. So this ego-driven mentality, it's not good for us. It's not healthy. It's not what we want. We want love and joy and happiness, no more. So this final arriving, this radical change, this understanding Krishnamurti is not anything that should be a mystery to anyone, because we've all lived it before. You may not remember your childhood as vividly as I do. I think that part of the reason why I remember it so vividly is because it was so traumatic. So I remember all the traumatic instances very clearly. So I'm not too sure if this is the same for everybody, but that's one of the main reasons I know for a fact. As children, we were ego-free, we were happy, we were jolly, we were dependent on our authorities, yes. Now, we can do the same thing. We can be free, independent, so free from authority. Because we can feed ourselves and wipe our own bums. And then, so we can go back to this state. We can go back to living mindful, it's mind-free and mindful at the same time. So not thinking about what you're doing, just going with the flow, going in the moment, going with whatever is happening in the moment. Children do it. Children adapt to what is. If you ask children that grew up poor, most of them will say, I didn't even notice we were poor. It's only later that people told me, blah, 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 you're not wearing a Gucci jacket or whatever. Same as I thought my abusive household was normal. It's how I grew up. It's a thing where, like, as a child, you are served these circumstances and you do not know yet, so you're happy to accept it for what it is. And that's all it is about. I interact with children quite often and quite frequently. Obviously, there's an ego that develops. There's obviously the personality. Personality and ego is different. So ego is the idea I have about myself. Personality is intrinsic. So everybody has a unique personality. Or we are all the same, yes, but we all have different personalities. We're not boring, bland, average, normal, stereotypical, heteronormative people as society wants us. That's not it. Personality and ego is something different. And as children have personality, and they can have personality without an ego as well, so it's easy to see. So all I ever say in my everyday life is, a few years ago I managed to get my kid joy back. So that's all it is. It's nothing mysterious, magical, divine, mystical. It's just facing yourself, facing your life, facing your past, facing everything you ran from, and then settling back into your own joyous, blissful kid self, because then life is fun. Thank you very much for listening, and talk to you soon. Much love. ONElove.